Toastmasters, and welcome to our guests. Back in September 1994, I came to this very building for my first Toastmaster meeting ever. Our club was going strong at the time. I came because a friend wanted company to come to a meeting with her. I didn't know anything about Toastmasters. And little did I know that I was going to meet a person who was going to become a true mentor and friend to me. There was a woman speaking that night. Her name was E.J. Burgay, and she had just run unsuccessfully for third vice president of Toastmasters International, which is a position that moves up to being international president. I sat there thinking, there is no way I would ever do something like that. Little did I know that several years later, she would be helping me campaign for district governor for Florida and Bahamas for Toastmasters. E.J. was a remarkable woman. She knew at a young age she was visually impaired, and she knew that she was going to eventually become completely blind. But she didn't let this stop her. In fact, when she was 16, she convinced some of her girlfriends that they should go and get their learner's permits to be able to drive. That's the one thing that E.J. regretted in life, was that she couldn't drive a car. So her girlfriends, they studied and memorized that eye chart with the big E so that she could go into the Department of Motor Vehicles and pass the eye test. She went in there, looked into the thing, they said, read line 5. So she recited line 5, and the person said, I'm sorry, you failed. Here it was the N eye chart, not the E eye chart. Needless to say, she never got her learner's permit, but her husband Hugh apparently did take her a few times in the parking lot, empty parking lots, and let her drive around a little. So she did drive some. When E.J. was growing up, she had an interest in being an attorney. A trial attorney is what she wanted to be. She went to Keuka College in New York, and there the academic advisors said, oh no, women can't make it through law school. You shouldn't even tell people you want to be an attorney because they're just going to laugh at you. E.J. was not going to let that stop her. She was determined she was going to become an attorney, and she worked for several years teaching history, and then saved up her money and went to law school. She graduated from the American University in Washington, D.C. with her Juris Doctor degree in 1966, and then she had discrimination. And you would think it was because she was blind that law firms wouldn't want to hire her, but in 1966 they told her flat out, it's not because you're blind that we don't want to hire you, it's because you're a woman. Go figure. She kept pursuing the desire to be an attorney, and she eventually got a job working for the federal government in Washington, D.C., and then later went on to work for the IRS as an attorney. During this time, she was asked by one of her colleagues to go to a Toastmaster meeting. Well, guess what? Women were not allowed to join Toastmasters until 1973, and this was 1972. With a name like Evelyn Jane, how could you apply for a male-only organization without them flagging your application? So her colleague said, well, we can solve that. We'll just put it as EJ in her last name. So hence, from then on, for Toastmasters, she's always EJ instead of Evelyn Jane. She also went on to be the first woman to win the Toastmasters International Speech Contest, and that was in 1977. And there's only been 3 other women since then to have won it. That prompted her to have a public speaking career where she spoke on stage with people such as Earl Nightingale, Cabot Robert, Art Linkletter, and Paul Harvey. So some of you will recognize those names. Her speech title was The Importance of Humor in the Workplace. That was her speech that she won the World Championship of Public Speaking with. And it's a topic that from 1977 until today is still a relevant topic. As I was doing some research about EJ, I came across several different websites where people had quoted her or referred to things that they had learned from her. There was a website for a Toastmaster Club in Santa Monica, California, where a member named David said, a colleague, EJ Bergay, said, perfection is not possible. Mere excellence will be good enough. And I can just see EJ saying this. Well, I'm not perfect, but I'll be excellent. And that was EJ. Her theme when she was district governor was make it happen. And EJ was a person to make it happen. She always made sure our club meetings happened, the officers, the members got involved. And there was another article that I found from the November 2011 Toastmaster magazine by Judith Pearson, who said, years ago I had the privilege to work as an area governor under past National Director Ellen Jane E.J. Bergay. She once said to me, you have to know what makes people tick. E.J. was an expert at delegating and motivating others. She knew that learning is high on my list of values. When she phoned me to participate in a project, she would say, Judy, I have a great learning experience for you. When I knew what the project would match my value system, I inevitably said yes. Well, EJ had that effect on me too, because I never wanted to take on leadership roles. As I took on officer roles in the club and area governor when that opportunity came, she was always there to support me and encourage me and say, well, you know you can do this. You'd be great at this. You're going to learn so much. And I got sucked into that. And before I knew it, she was encouraging me to run for Lieutenant Governor of Marketing for our district, which was Florida and Bahamas at the time. I am the least political person you know. Campaigning is a bad word to me. But I learned how to run an ethical campaign, never saying a single thing about any of your opponents, nothing negative, only positive things. I learned how to work the room, which is one of the worst things that I do. But she taught me how to go around and meet every person at the district conference. She made sure I was out there and getting to meet people. And she was always there telling me how to get your area governors motivated, how to get people to buy in, things that I definitely took with me. Unfortunately, EJ died in May of 2002, just a few days before I was elected district governor. And I wish that she could have been there with me to have that moment. But during that year, I took her advice. We were a successful district. And now 10 years later, I still think about her often. And I know I miss her, and I know a lot of other people around the country and around the world miss her. And that she's impacted so many people. That hopefully, someday, I'll just impact a small portion of the people that she has. Mr. President.